Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead video for today, leading up to the second half for The Walking Dead Season 8. In this one first, we're going to give our thoughts on the description or synopsis for the second half of the season, and then we're going to look at some promo key art for The Last Stand. And spoiler warning as per usual, if you are not cut out for The Walking Dead, which is up to the mid-season finale for The Walking Dead Season 8. So we're doing red today. Yeah. I see red. All I see is red. And I do it. That's what it is. Link will be in the description to comicbook.com, so you guys go ahead and check it out for The Walking Dead Season 8, All-Out War. Detailed synopsis for the back half of The Walking Dead Season 8, and it says, quote-unquote, all-out war has had a devastating impact on every person involved. The communities themselves are fractured, the synopsis reads. Alexandria has been destroyed, the hilltop finds themselves pinned, and the kingdom is shattered. Half of them dead, the other half controlled by the Saviors. At the very center, Rick, having been distracted by the conflict, has just returned home to learn that Carl, who heroically shepherded the Alexandrians to safety during Negan's attack, has been bitten by a walker. Once his sole motivation in this otherwise stark existence, Rick is forced to deal with this reality. Carl has always been a beacon of hope, a symbol for the remaining thread of humanity, lessons that the survivors around him would be wise to take with them as this war surges onward. But Rick isn't the only person who's living in peril. Aaron and Enid are in a dire situation at Oceanside. Unclear if they're in friendly territory or if they've just made new enemies. Father Gabriel will do his part in attempting to smuggle Dr. Carson safely back to the hilltop, and a pregnant Maggie is wrestling with the many moral gray areas that come with leadership during war. In a standoff with the Saviors, she must decide how to proceed with the dozens of prisoners of war's lives she's currently in control of, as well as new complications that come with being a leader. In addition to the war, Negan continues to deal with struggles within his ranks as workers, traitors, and others thirst for power cause conflict at the sanctuary. Having gifted the Saviors a major victory, Eugene's loyalty is repeatedly tested as new obstacles present themselves. As all-out war consumes us, the line between good and evil continues to blur. People fighting for what they believe in, everybody working together for something bigger, to feel safe and have a world worth living in. Along with the new synopsis comes a brand new batch of key art teasing The Last Stand. So we'll take a look at that in a minute. So pretty cool with the description, kind of sets, I mean, you know, is there much new in the description that we didn't already know for the second half? I wouldn't say there's really that much, but it is kind of cool that we're going to see Negan continue to have trouble with the Saviors and possibly, you know, just not being able to control everybody, worrying about possibly others' thirst for power, trying to maybe, you know, cause some kind of civil war, trying to take over something like this. So we'll have to see if maybe Simon or one of the others gets a little uppity. Of course, we've got Dwight in there somewhere, and we did get to see in the teaser, the promo for the second half, that Dwight may actually return and act like everything is like it's all, you know, like he may just return back to the sanctuary and be like, oh, I got cut off from everybody, I had to run, and I was on foot, and then I finally made my way back here, which would be pretty cool. But we're going to have to see how Laura deals with that, because of course she does know that he's been kind of doing this on purpose and that he is a traitor. So will he be able to kind of talk her into it? Might there be some kind of romantic relationship with Laura and Dwight? And might he be able to kind of pull her to his side, kind of away from Negan and the Saviors? And, you know, maybe she won't tell anybody. So we'll have to see what happens with this. Of course, you've got Eugene in there as well, too. And everybody's going to think if someone is a traitor and, you know, is helping these survivors, it'd probably be Eugene. We have had just recently Dr. Carson kind of get out of there, as well as Gabriel too, right? Be let go. And so, you know, will Negan be able to put two and two together that maybe Eugene has something to do with it? Or will it maybe be him just thinking that, oh, they snuck out while someone was, you know, like doing something? You know, so it's, you know, Eugene is pretty clever, though. He covers his tracks pretty good. He's pretty smooth, right? He's pretty slick. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But, you know, with regards to the lines and blurring and kind of who's the good guy, this kind of thing. I mean, at the beginning it starts out that way, but even like from the start, so you have the saviors that are, kind of, they're going after people, they're forcing people to work for them, they're forcing people under them, and so, you would tend to say that in that situation that, yeah, Rick and the others are the good guys, but we did get to see some episodes there, even early on before the war even started, like in season 6, where Rick and the others go through, and they just kill basically everybody at the satellite outpost. So, with regards to who's really the good guy, who's the bad guy, it's kind of like, with what the saviors were doing it was bad, it was evil, enslaving people is bad, right? There's not a lot of things that are worse than that, but one thing that is worse than that is eradicating them, is killing them all. So going through and just cleaning them out, going through a whole outpost and just killing everybody, leaving none alive. You could see that as worse than enslaving people, I would think. I mean, at least if someone has to work for you and has to feed up to you, at least they have the opportunity to live. When you just flat out kill somebody, you don't even give them that opportunity to even, have any sort of a life at all. You end it right then and there. So, tricky questions for sure. So, again, it doesn't really add a whole lot new to the season, but, just continuing on with what we're seeing. In terms of predictions, I would think the Ocean side is going to help join, because if you look at the numbers from the survivors versus the saviors, it still feels like the saviors have the advantage right now. Like, it started off, Rick and the others felt like they were getting it. They were, at the beginning of this season, they were kind of beating the saviors, and then now it feels like the saviors have kind of turned it back on them and are in the dominant position. And then, of course, the Junkyard group kind of flees and goes off on their own by themselves. But then the Ocean side, at some point, probably has to join and has to help out the others here, because I do feel like they're still outnumbered, and we're going to have to see in the end who the Junkyard group sides with. I tend to think it'd be Rick and the others, because they do kind of need the numbers, I think, right now, and I think that's what we'll see in this back half. But, let's take a look at the last stand key art. It's pretty cool. Man, so these two are really wicked cool. So I'll put the link in the description so you guys can check these ones out for yourselves if you want to, download them, wallpaper, whatever, what have you. So the last stand, wow, that is so cool, right? So I really like this first one, because you got Rick, and it's a little silly, I must admit. Daryl looks good. You got Daryl looking badass as usual. Michonne looking super badass as usual in the background there. But then you want to talk like promo, right? You got like, Rick at the front. Sweet. Look at that. Look at the face. Look at the face. That's really cool, right? So he's like, it's just, but I mean, and that's a good question, right? You kill Carl off, what kind of Rick will you see? Will you see Rick that's, that's kind of like the usual Rick, or will you see a new, unhinged, more kind of crazy, just doesn't give an F anymore type of Rick? And I would think that naturally, if Carl is killed off, you're going to see Rick go a little berserk. You're going to see Rick go a little crazy. If you guys remember season 3 with Lori and everything that happened with that, this is Carl, so this is even worse. Lori wasn't that great to Rick, right? She was messing around on him, this kind of thing. It's what it is. Obviously, he was upset, but when you lose Carl, it's like, the boy didn't do any wrong. The boy, like, it's like, at least not to him. I mean, he might have not stayed in the house as much as he probably should have, but he didn't do anything wrong to Rick, right? So, he's a son and everything. So I'm looking forward to that, quite a bit for this half, just to see a really crazy, unhinged Rick. And also another takeaway from this one, the sky and everything's really cool, and the fire and all that, and the zombie hands at the bottom. But it's just so like ridiculous. Ridiculous. It's funny. So, but you've got the junkyard in this one, right? So look at the bottom. You see all the junk everywhere, the piles, the tires in the back right there, and all the cars and everything, fire, zombie hands and everything. So that would be a cool landscape. Like, you guys got to admit, even people that don't like the junkyard group, like, even if you guys are like, I hate the junkyard group, they're so annoying, the way they talk pisses me off, I get it. But you got to admit one thing. It's a cool landscape for a battle. I mean, let's be honest, guys. How many fighting games have you played where one of the backgrounds is like a junkyard or something, and it's like, like a Street Fight or something, it's a great environment to have like a final last stand type battle in a series, and it's certainly a different type of environment that we've seen a fight at before. So I think personally that would be wicked cool. And of course, the junkyard group maybe being involved, whose side will they be on? I don't think we can say for sure they'd be on Rick's side right now, on the survivor side. They could flip-flop back the other way again now. Really, I feel like they're not on anyone's side in particular. They're on their own side, and they're just going for whoever they think is really going to win here. So, but I mean, right now I still lead maybe like 60-40, 64 in favor of the survivors and 40% that the junkyard would go with the saviors. So, I'm still leaning towards survivors for junkyard and who they'll ally themselves with. But that would be really cool if we get to see some kind of last stand battle. In this back half, like the final battle at the junkyard. But if you look at this one here, so this is the second one, and this is really cool. And I mean, this one doesn't get you guys pumped. If these two don't get you pumped, I don't think anything's gonna. It's not gonna happen. This doesn't work. It's not gonna happen. So we've got Rick, and he's walking up all badass. He's ready to go. Right? He's got the python. He's ready to go. You got Negan, and he's like standing there, ready to have like maybe a meeting or something, like a meeting of the minds. He's called Rick out maybe, and Rick is coming out to discuss a few things with him, and it's going to be settled mono a mono, right? So that would be really cool. Final battle, Rick and Negan, one-on-one to settle this, right? Don't worry about everybody else. Don't worry about all your men and everything. Just, Negan's waiting and Rick is walking on out. Okay, let's finish this, right? So the last stand, that's really cool. Now, this one is not so easy to say where this one is at. I would think Hilltop, but... what if it was something like the last place that, that they originally, there was the season 7 premiere. Like, what if the final battle was somewhere around there or something, or the final confrontation between the two and where they meet is in the same spot where, Glenn and Abraham were, So, that would be crazy too. So, write your comments below. Let me know what you guys think. And how are you feeling about these? Like, this is the first kind of little new bit of stuff that we've had, some promo stuff from The Walking Dead, from AMC, for the second half that we've had since the promo that was teased, the teaser video, which has a little bit of footage in it. So how are you feeling? Do these pictures get you pumped? Are you pumped for the back half? Do you want to see the last battle, the last stand for Rick and these survivors, the final confrontation, Rick versus Negan? Oh man, I'm personally really excited. Cannot wait to see this final battle. Cannot wait to see this go down. It's going to be awesome. And a couple more new things. I want to thank Chris TANLEY, who sent those through to me, as well as he sent, there'll be a link to this one as well below. It's a Nerdist link to, I think it's like a YouTube video or music video, this type of deal, where it's audio. You don't have, the video and the music video and everything like that. So, like you might think just an audio kind of video you can check out. But it's on YouTube, and it's The Walking Dead done with 80s synth music, which is pretty cool. So, thanks to Chris for sending these all through. Check that one out too as well, guys. If you're a fan of like 80s, if you like the original Dead trilogy, Dawn, Day, and Night of the Living Dead, it's just kind of it's something cool you can listen to if you want to check it out. And it really reminds me of like those old school movies, but done with the synth and done with the Walking Dead's theme, which is kind of cool. So check it out if you want, if you're into music, that kind of stuff, or if you like listening to scores for things. I do. I personally love to listen to different scores for movies and stuff, and Walking Dead, TV series, Game of Thrones, things like that. So it's always fun. So check it out if you haven't seen that. Another one I think Angie G sent through to me, as well as a few of you guys too, was an update for the Frank Darabont lawsuits for The Walking Dead. So apparently they're filing a second lawsuit. I think this one's for 10 mil. Only 10 mil, right? Against AMC. Link will also be in the description, so you guys can check that out too if you want to. I'm not going to do a whole solo video on that one, just to really say, yes, apparently there is a secondary lawsuit. Whatever, what does that do? What does that mean? Not really sure right now. Don't know if the first one's going through, if they think that the Frank Darabont suing team is suing AMC for what happened with The Walking Dead and him not getting all of his royalty that he feels based on, an actual market percentage and more on an imputed fee. So you can look into it. I've done videos on it all so far. But apparently AMC has responded to this new lawsuit for only 10 mil by saying that it has no grounds and that it pretty much should be combined with the other lawsuit because they're basically the same thing. So they're kind of like spamming. It's like a spamming lawsuit. Like, the secondary one is like, it's different, but it's the same, this kind of deal. So we'll have to see what happens with that. And, again, when we finally hear about, if it's public, because it could be settled and they may not officially announce what the results were of this lawsuit between Frank Darabont and AMC. If we do get it publicly, if we do find out publicly what happens with this lawsuit, who wins, how much, how many millions, 1 million, 150 million, 600 million, whatever million, I'll let you guys know how it goes. But if they are filing a secondary one, that almost leads me to believe, like, does that mean that it's probably maybe the first one's not going that well? I don't know. Or you could say it's like greedy because the first one is going well, so they decide they'd slap on another one too to try to get another little bit out of them. Geez, I don't know, man. It's legal stuff is difficult, right? But apparently, AMC's asked them to, the judge or whatever, to combine the cases because they're basically the same thing anyway, and we'll have to see how it goes. Who knows? Maybe he'll lose. Maybe he'll lose. And again, I have no idea. But maybe he'll lose the lawsuit and AMC will win, and the whole thing will get thrown out or something. We'll have to see how it goes, man. It's interesting stuff, and real world drama, right? Real world drama. So that's really all I gotta say about that one, guys. It's like the same thing as the last lawsuit, and I'll let you guys know the verdict when it's announced, if it's ever publicly announced. Who knows? If it's settled out of court, it may never be. We may never even know what happens with it. So we'll see in the end if we do even find out. Suzy says, nice name, Suzy. Trev, are you still thinking that there will for sure be a time skip after the season? Has it been confirmed? So no, it has not been confirmed that they're actually going to do a time skip in the TV series. We saw like a flash forward or maybe a dream sequence at the beginning of the season. Who knows what kind of sequence that was at the beginning of the season? Some people think dream sequence makes a lot of sense at this time. So we'll have to see where Red-Eyed Rick shows up, if that's a scene from the end of this season, and if we kind of see Old Man Rick waking up at some point in the future, and it actually does look like that scene. We'll have to see if they actually do that. I think they will, and I think they'll do the time skip, because even though they stray away quite a bit from the original comic book series, it's still mostly on the path. They diverge a bit, but they kind of, they kill Carl off, so that's a pretty big, step in a different direction. But they kind of go back on the same kind of, path that they're usually on. So we'll have to see, what happens with the time skip if they do it. I think they'll still do it, probably at the end of this season. But no, it's not confirmed. And yes, they could probably do. It's all, if they have good enough ideas for things that they could do in that time to add in maybe another group or something else, a different story in there, then it could work if it's done well enough. Nobody really complained about Terminus. That's an add-in, right, that was not in the comics. In the comics, the hunters just show up and just go after them on the road. In the TV series, you have Terminus, you have all that stuff, and nobody really complained about that. It was a really good add-in. So sometimes they can put in some stuff that could be a half season or a whole season that could be an add-in, but turns out to be really good. So we'll have to see. I don't think they will. I think they'll do the time skip. I don't think they'll add in a whole extra season of new stuff or something. I think they will actually just do the time skip at the end of the year, but I could be wrong. Billie Jean says, Trev, got one for a Q&A. Who do you think should be the one to put Carl down? Easy answers. It should be Rick, I think. I think Rick should be the one to do it. Is it going to be really sad to see that scene? Are we going to see it in episode 9? Probably. But if he can't do it because it is his son, you could also see, number 2 for me would be Michonne. You couldn't really have Enid or something like that because she's in a different story. She's got her own thing going on right now in different location and everything, so her story is on a different path right now. But to see Rick, Michonne, either of them would make sense. Who else was close to Carl? I think that's pretty much it in terms of who was there. If they can't do it, maybe have Daryl do it. You get a Dale situation again, but they've already done that. So yeah, I think it really should be Rick. If anybody, Rick should be the one to put down Carl, Zombie Carl. Smirking Gun says, Trev Q&A, have you considered Enid taking Carl's Whisper arc? So I've done quite a few videos mentioning that one already. I won't really go into that one again. We've talked about it. Generally, the consensus that I've seen is that we really don't like the idea of Enid taking Carl's comic book Whisper story arc. I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it would fit right, but we'll have to see what they do. If they do decide to do that, I'll be like, it's okay. Enid's okay. She's an okay character for me, but the comic book series version of Carl was wicked awesome, so we'll probably never see that in the TV series, but who knows? Henry is intriguing me to start, so we'll see what he's got. And last one will be from drobartvideos, who says, Q&A, Trev, do you think the walkers in the new mural look like they could be Whisper-type masks? They kind of sort of do for me, at least the two on either ends. Also, do you think they would pit the Fear Group against our Walking Dead survivors as a way to end both series, making the viewers pick a side. Well, that'd be really cool to do a crossover. You know, I think if they did like a Madison's group versus Rick's group, and have some of Madison's group come in, not all of them, leave Nicholas out of it, take the rest, bring them in, and have them be villains against Rick and the others, letting the fans pick which side. Everyone's going to pick Rick and the survivors, so they're going to be the good guys. You know, Madison coming in, they're going to be the bad guys. Doing it in the original Walking Dead series, that would be a really cool way to do it. That'd be an epic confrontation, man. If you see Rick versus Madison, that'd be not quite as epic as Negan, but it could, if they do it well enough, it could be similar. It could be close to the same hype, because if you think about it, the Fear Group has had 3 full seasons to tell their own story. To have them cross in and be villains in the Walking Dead series, that would be epic for fans that have seen Fear all the way through, to see them cross in like that and be villains in the Walking Dead series. That would be an epic, you know, confrontation between the two. Maybe not quite at Negan's level with Negan with Rick, what we're going to see in the second half, or maybe Governor Rick. Close though, and I don't think it could exceed Negan, but because they have so much time prior, it could at least be close to as good, I think, as Governor Rick or Negan Rick confrontation. As far as the mural goes, if you guys didn't see it, I did a video on a new mural for a billboard there in New York, and there are some zombies in it. And to me, I heard people say like they look like they could be whisperers. To me, as soon as I saw them, they look like they were dead underneath to me. They look like zombies to me. But I hear what you're saying. I just don't know if they would start to kind of put whispers in artwork already. I feel like that's something that we'll definitely see this summer. We'll definitely see things for the whisperers start to come in at the end of this year, I think. End of season 8, you know, going into season 9, and then when season 9 starts in the first half and even the second, we should start seeing lots of stuff for the whisperers, which is going to be wicked sweet if you know, if that is in fact what they do and they don't fill it out and push it back into 2019, which I kind of hope that I want to see the Whisperers soon. It's going to be wicked cool, wicked awesome. And that'll pretty much be it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think about all of those links above and in the description and or below, I suppose. And yeah, that's it for today's video. If you guys aren't subscribed, subscribe at the bottom, click the bell to turn on notifications to get notifications when we upload new videos. And if you like this video, please don't forget to thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it, and you can do it. You can subscribe at the bottom. So for this one, see you guys again soon for another. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace. I'll see you guys soon.